All right, good morning, well, good afternoon or good evening. This is Vinney Chopra coming to you every week, as you know, on my podcast, which is the sequel to my #1 seller on Amazon. If you have not picked up, please do pick up Apartment Syndication Made Easy. Over 325 reviews, 325 in just a year and a half, about 205 or 6 in USA and rest around the world. So I really thank everybody who has really followed me. This is the sequel to the book that I do weekly show, which is Apartment Syndication Made Easy in Commercial Investing. And please follow me, like me, comment, share, and let's make fun. Let's make fun. I'm really excited to be sharing with you my very good friend, and a great real estate attorney from Dallas, Texas, and that's Milton Colegrove. Hi, Milton. How are you?
I'm fine, Vinney. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. You're looking so young. I'm so proud.
Oh, thank you.
You said that you have lost almost 65 pounds.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, very good.
Thank you.
I hope I also try to keep very good weight as per my side, but it's so good to be healthy, to be active, and like
Yes.
you said, you just turned 60. I turned 68 this year, in August, and I think it's good to be stimulated, every day. We shouldn't retire. I believe that we should not.
I agree.
We should enjoy life, because and work few hours in a day. So I'd like to introduce you, Milton, and how is your family and everybody? Good?
My family's great. My last adult child has moved out of the house, so my wife and I are empty nesters. We gutted the upstairs and put a library upstairs and a craft room upstairs, and now we don't know what to do because we just kind of stare at each other and wonder what to talk about. So.
Oh my gosh. I do want to tell everybody listening to us, I really owe a lot to my success to my friend Milton Colegrove. I know the best attorney. Actually, we started our journey 13 years back, and ever since I've not looked at anybody else, because Milton has been a great friend and a confidant and a counsel, looking at all my LLC structures, all my asset protections, everything that I've done over the last 13, 14 years, every syndication, every contract. I mean, I don't know where I will be, Milton, if you were not on my team, bud.
Well, that's very kind of you, and it's been a great joy working with you and watching you grow and see you build the empire that you are building. So it's just fabulous to watch.
Thank you so much. I'd like to introduce you formally, just to let everybody know across the world, because our podcast is now listened to all over the world. Milton W. Colegrove Jr. practices in the areas of real estate, both commercial and residential, title insurance, entity formation, asset protection, and estate planning. He's graduate of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where he received a Bachelor of Business Administration degree in finance with an emphasis in real estate. Haha, look at that. So Milton graduated cum laude from Texas Wesleyan University School of the Law, now Texas A&M, which is the biggest university, isn't it? Yes. School of Law, Texas A&M, where he was also a member of the Law Review. That's wonderful. Milt has worked closely with an investor-friendly Texas title company, and I know that they are so good to work with. I'm telling you, Milton, I mean, we have closed on deals, we have sold deals, we have bought deals through them, and it's amazing. They are wonderful people. They really are. Texas Title Company, guys, listen to this one. Texas Title Company, just Google it, and has represented clients in the deals as large as 20 million, 30 million, all kind of them. And then Milt has been married for over 34 years. Congratulations, 34 years. And together they have 4 children and 5 grandchildren. You're blessed. Blessed
Yes,
to
I
have
am. Thank you.
Blessed to
Thank
have
you.
you, Milton. Let me ask
Thank
you a
you.
question, Milton. Why do we need a real estate attorney?
Well, Vinney, you and I are old enough to remember an old commercial from many, many years ago. A company trying to sell their oil filters for cars. It was a company by the name of Fram Oil Filters, and their slogan was "Pay me now or pay me later." If you'll remember that ad, and it was basically, spend $8 on an oil filter now, or hundreds of dollars, which would probably now be thousands of dollars, fixing your engine because we're unwilling to spend the $8. Having an attorney in a real estate transaction is pretty much the same thing, right? You pay me upfront to help you avoid meeting my partner, who is the litigator,
Yes.
helping you get out of a lawsuit or any other issues. And so many times, I will get calls from investors who have closed deals and have done so without legal counsel, who now recognize that they, bought a piece of property with an easement that interferes on where they want to build, or there are some miscellaneous restrictions on their property they didn't recognize because they didn't read the documents from the title company. And then the standard issues, right? We've got partners who don't get along, and there's really no documentation to get anyone out that's caused a problem. And so I try to tell people, listen, I think my rates are fair. I try to do most of the things I do on a flat fee basis, so people can budget for me in the process. I said, it's so much wiser to pay me to get you started on the right track than calling me after the fact and paying tens of thousands of dollars with any litigator to respond to lawsuits or anything of that nature. And so I think that's a struggle, and I understand the struggle new investors have, right? Cash is really tight. I mean, they're trying to do as much as they can without having to incur expenses.
Yeah.
But in situations, right, where if the property is being syndicated, and they are bringing in investors, my format is I've never asked for a retainer. I don't ask for a retainer for most of my clients, so it's not like they have to cut me a check of 5 figures before we even start. And many times, I don't collect until it closes, right? And so the money isn't coming out of your pocket as a new investor. It's part of the syndication fees that you've raised. So I try to make it financially as easy for people to feel comfortable about hiring counsel as I possibly can and stay in business, right?
That is so true. I mean, Milton, let me say that. I mean, there are lots and lots of, attorneys, great attorneys out there, but they want money up front, half or some. And then also they charge 15 minutes increments and 30 minutes increments, or an email goes out here, there is that bill, and I really have appreciated from the bottom of my heart, like what you're saying is you have delivered over 13 years for me, flat fee, which is amazing concept. I hope everybody listening to us really reach out to Milton, my friend, right there in Dallas, and let me come to also share with the audience, you and I have met physically, belly to belly across the lunch table 4 times in 13 years. I mean, you're so good. You're so organized. You're so much on top of things. I cannot tell you how much I owe to, my success. I really am. I mean, you've taken Greg, your partner, litigation attorney is the best. And you guys have saved me millions of dollars. I mean, some businesses would have closed, with the kind of, lawsuits. We always get lawsuits, but you need to have the great people. Tell me more. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah. Well, and Vinney, I don't think we can meet belly to belly anymore because I don't have one. It'll have to be shoulder to shoulder or something.
That's right.
So if and we're going to talk multifamily, right? Single family. And again, I can really only speak for Texas. Single family here in Texas isn't really attorney driven. I know on the East Coast it is, they wouldn't imagine closing anything without attorney. That's not the case really here in Texas. I do a lot of work for single family investors, basically in asset protection and entity formation. But when we're talking multifamily, the need is extremely great for buyers to have legal counsel,
Yes. Yes.
right? Especially if you're new in multifamily.
Yeah.
Because when you're buying a single family property, you get a title commitment from a title company and don't really care.
Mhm.
You assume the title company is going to take care of everything. All the seller's liens and all those things have to be taken care of. You don't really care what the easement section says because it's a single family home.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
you get into multifamily, right, you have to care what is listed as, easements and restrictions and mineral rights and deeds and laundry leases, right? We love those. We love laundry leases. I mean, they're just fabulous, right? And those kind of things are very important. And so when you are a buyer of a multifamily, you need someone to be able who has experience to be able to analyze the title commitment and all the documents that's referenced in that title commitment. So he or she can write an objection letter.
Yes. Yes.
Right. To the title company and the seller, saying, listen, we don't really want our final policy to include this, and this is why. And there's some negotiation about it because my job is to make sure that the title policy you get has the least amount of exceptions as possible, because this is an insurance policy, right? I mean, think of it if it was a health insurance policy that said, by the way, though, we accept coverage, meaning we will not provide coverage to people with blue eyes and blonde hair and are over 6 foot tall, right?
Yeah.
And when we're going, well, no, we don't want those exceptions. What do we need to do to get rid of those exceptions? Well, the title policy is similar to that, right? There are things that the title company is initially saying, if there's a loss based on this particular issue, we're not going to cover it. Well, we want to try to negotiate with them to reduce those exceptions to the least amount acceptable to all the parties.
Sure.
And that's a very important task, I believe, that buyers who don't have counsel ignore and don't get the benefit out of. And again, I see a lot of issues after the fact in which people go, well, geez, I didn't know this laundry lease is in there, or, I wanted to go get my own laundry company, or, hey, I signed a contract unrelated to title. I get this as well. I signed a contract that I didn't really realize what it meant, but now I have 5 vendor contracts that I have somehow assumed without knowing that they were there. Why is that? Well, because your contract said if you had 10 days, to say, listen, I'm not going to assume this contract. Well, you didn't do that formally, and now these are your contracts. And so our job as counsel for buyers is also to make sure that timelines are recognized by the buyer, right? You have 10 days to tell your seller blank.
Yeah. Or,
hey, 30 days is your due diligence, and about day 25, we're going to drop you an email. You got 5 days until you due diligence. Are you ready? Does the property, meet your standards? Do you need an extension on that? But the thing that we always forget is that 99% of the time, the seller that you're dealing with has his own attorney.
Yeah.
Right. So here you are as a new investor trying to deal with negotiations with a trained professional on the other side.
Correct.
And it just doesn't make any sense.
It does not.
We speak our own language. We talk differently. Our terms are different, and we negotiate differently with one another. And so that's why an attorney is important. I also understand that some attorneys have this willingness to blow deals for people, right? They want to puff out their peacock wings and say, well, you're paying me. My job is to show you how much I can do, right? I have just the opposite of you. If I can make the deal happen for you and you have made proper business decisions, certain legal things just don't matter, right? Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, you know what? I hate this, let's get rid of it. Or, hey, you know what? This is what it does to you. And if it doesn't affect your bottom line, let's not worry about it. Let's make the deal happen. Getting the apartment is more important than worrying about X or Y if it doesn't affect you financially, right? I mean, stuff like that I think is important.
I just remember 2014, you advised me, and I want to talk about that. There was this property we bought, 156 units, you may recall, 16 units were burnt. And your counsel to me was, I think seller said, I'll get 181,000 or something when I get these 16 units already renovated. I would put it back together. then insurance company, of their insurance company will pay me. And your advice was, Vinney, how does the deal look with 140 units? Don't worry about the 16 units and don't worry about the 181,000. I still remember that, if you don't get that money, is it a good deal? And we said yes, and we followed. I bought it for 3.550. A lot of people in the audience might know him. And I sold it just last year for 750 or 650, something like that.
Right. Yeah. And it didn't matter, did it? We still probably collected on the insurance, but you gotta look at things. And I think that's some attorneys' problems is, I have a long-term business background before I went to law school as an adult, and I came into the practice of law realizing that my job was to be not quote unquote an attorney, but to be a counselor.
Yeah.
And the task was to make deals work for my clients so they become profitable. I mean, it's not to blow a deal, right? I'm not going to get credit by, every 5 deals you send, you only close on one of them because I've blown 4 of them. That don't do you any good in the long run.
So true. So very true. Wow.
Right. So, I think that's our task as counsel. If you find good counsel, you really need to, I think you ask a couple of questions, right? What's your fee structure, right? Because you got to be worried if you're a new investor and you got a lot of questions about the fact that every time you pick up the phone, you're going to get an invoice. I operate a little differently than others. As a transactional attorney who doesn't litigate, you have the luxury of doing that. If you're a litigator like my partner, if he opened the phones up to not being billed, his clients who are already stressed because they're in litigation would call every 5 minutes.
Yes.
Right. So he's got to, but I don't.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to that same philosophy we started with. I would rather have my clients call me and not worry about a 10-minute call than not call me, do something silly, and then have me have to introduce you to my partner because, again, you've done something that's caused you to be sued. You've got a vendor upset with you or whatever. And it just, and people go, well, how do you do that? How do you financially afford to do that? And it all works out in the end, right? You treat your clients just like right? You treat your clients, your employees, your friends morally and properly, and it will come back to you.
Always.
Right? Many times. And, and again, I see you out there with your mentoring and helping people, and I get calls from people that go, hey, Vinney, this, and I just have to smile because I know what kind of guy you are. And so we've gotten along because we have that same view about things, right? We're gonna end up on top because of what we stand for and what we do.
Totally.
Right? So that's our view. Of course, there's other things, right? Especially if you are the buyer working with your lender. Lender is always going to have an attorney. Mm-hmm. Again, there's no reason for you to try to communicate with legal counsel. Let me step in when they ask for documents. Some of those documents are confusing. Mm-hmm. You get into big deals, where Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae want that wonderful opinion letter.
Yep.
That they want an attorney to write. You've got to have somebody who knows how to do that. You can't do one on your own.
No.
They want a legal opinion letter, not a buyer opinion letter. Sellers need counsel mainly to negotiate contracts, right? And to help with amendments. There's not a lot to have to do on the seller side. Make sure the deal happens. Make sure if there's some issues as a recipient of a title objection letter that you can solve. Mm-hmm. I'm in the middle of right now refinancing 6 multifamilies in the state of Texas. They're taking cash out on 6 of them. Mm-hmm. 3 of them had old laundry leases that dated back until the 80s that, those guys never release things just because they're nice people, right? You gotta hound them and harp on them to get releases. And this lender, the new lender, didn't want them on the title commitment. So, it took weeks to finally get them to issue releases.
Wow.
And kind of, I don't want to use the word threats, but statements of, hey, you better not hold up these closings because you're too lazy to give me releases, right? Mm-hmm. Easy for me to do as an attorney, right? Because they see my name and my law firm heading on the letters I send. And so they have a little more angst to get things done than if you were just trying to send that out on your own.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I wanted to really accentuate what you're saying. Kudos, because to be truthful, I have peace of mind. My wife and my daughter and everybody in our team have peace of mind because you are our team member. I mean, that's what it's all about. When you say, Vinney, you can sign, I don't even have to look through 111 pages or 7 pages or 9 pages. I just have to get Sign Easy on my phone, my trusted app, and just sign it. And I know I'm well taken care of. And that has saved umpty hours of, and we as buyers or sellers, we cannot understand the jargon. We cannot, the legal language and everything. And many times just small clauses, I mean, can put you away for thousands of dollars.
Right. Yeah, we do that on purpose, of course, so that you need us. Is why we. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, no, please. Yeah.
No, and I was just saying, and then of course, there's entity formation issues.
Yes.
If you're syndicating, I always, in fact, I talked to 2 of your mentors just a couple of days ago, who are using Kim Taylor as their SEC attorney, and I say,
she's awesome. Kim Taylor. All right. Kudos to Kim. Yes.
Yeah. Kim and I have worked together for many, many years, and we know what to do. And that's, if you're trying to syndicate, if you're trying to go out and invest, pick up the phone. Kim's kind enough to be able to answer any questions and tell you honestly if you need her services or if you don't. I get that call a lot. New people going, hey, when do I have to get a private placement? When do I have to take that next step?
Yes.
And I always just say, call Kim Taylor. She will tell you what you need and don't need to do, and she's honest and forthright. And so again,
sure,
kudos to another attorney on your team who is always there and is willing to help. And
totally.
And it's just wise. Of course, I would love to be able to help everybody in the United States.
Yes.
But I'm stuck here in the great state of Texas, and so Texas deals are my forte. It doesn't mean I won't take a call and give some overall guidance to your investors, as I've done in the past. People call from all over the country who know you and just ask some general terminology and get a feel. And I will tell them, I appreciate you wanting to retain me, but you need to get legal counsel in Ohio, or you need to get counsel in Florida, or
totally.
whatever.
And I bought those 2 deals in 2017 in Atlanta. You were very upfront. You said, Vinney, I could be looking at in Texas, but let's get an attorney. And Mark Britton, shout out to Mark. I'm so proud to have Mark Britton in Atlanta, who has done wonders for me, and Shola, and other people. So, but you can form entities in any state. Is that right?
Sure. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Right. That's really not a problem. And I think in time, what develops is sort of that quarterback relationship, right? I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you feel as if when you hire counsel in Atlanta or in Florida or wherever, you have no problem saying, will you give me a second opinion on this? Let me take a look at this, right? Can you visit with him and answer these concerns for me, right? That I'll pick up the phone and talk to Mark in Atlanta and go, hey,
yes,
I just saw this company agreement, this operating agreement you drafted. Vinny's got some concerns. Can we talk about them?
Yeah.
Get that problem solved. Mark will make the changes, and then you're fine, right? And that's what that one attorney is going to do for your team, even if you're doing a deal outside of the state. If it's somebody you've worked with for years, he can always be that quarterback for you to make sure things get done properly.
Totally.
So,
I hope everybody listening to us, guys, you're coming live. Live in a podcast. This is Vinney Chopra. As you know, I've been doing multifamily for the last 14 years, almost. Spent a lot of money educating myself, and those thousands of dollars are converting into millions. And we have a portfolio of now $421 million. Not bad. My first apartment complex I bought with my partner was 14 units. Hold on. 14 units for $180,000. And last year we bought $52 million deal in Florida. We bought $35 million in Florida. Then we just closed on with my partner again, $34,750,000 in Austin. And then into senior living and all that. So please, if you will like us, subscribe to us, share, that's a little promo from me, Vinney Chopra. I don't have any sponsors or anything. I don't believe in those things. We are just trying to do, and we are going to also be doing a high net worth passive investing summit coming up next March, actually. And my friend Milton is going to be presenter. I just asking him, virtually. We'll have 500 people join, and actually be free seminar. People will pay us $97 or $127 just to reserve. After they have gone through 2 days of the summit, we'll refund their money back. I said, what? Vinney, are you out of your mind? Vinney is always doing all these crazy things. So it's going to be exciting. Look forward to the advertisements and all. It's got 5 months away because we are just putting a lot of great things into action. Just wanted to let you all know. Milton, so tell us more about asset protection, why people need that, and also estate planning. Can you kind of share some ideas on those? Yeah.
Yeah, you bet. Well, again, based on a multifamily transaction, it's going to be almost mandatory for you to form some form of entity because your lender is going to require it, right?
Yes.
They're going to, in many cases, require what's called a single purpose entity.
Yep.
And all that really means is that limited liability company that you form, which is the norm. I mean, people still sometimes use limited partnerships, but the limited liability company has really taken over the real estate investment world. A single purpose entity just means that the asset that you're using as collateral, that multifamily, will be the only asset this particular limited liability company can own. So this lender doesn't want this LLC that you formed to own their collateral and two other banks' collateral in the same LLC, right? So they want that LLC to be formed specifically. I normally tell people to form the LLC that's holding title in the state that you are buying the property in, mainly just because it makes everyone's life easier.
Easy.
You're buying a Texas property, form a Texas LLC. Ohio. I mean, it's easier for the lender. It's easier for everyone involved, especially if you are needing that opinion letter I mentioned earlier. And then as for you, if you want to have a company on your own accord that you hold all your interest in all these other companies in, then there's some options, right? You can form an LLC in the state that you live in. If you want some anonymity, you can form it, for example, in Wyoming. Which is a silent state, meaning they don't publish anyone's ownership in any LLC. So you can look up an LLC name and they'll tell you it's in good standing, but you don't have any idea who owns it. And that works. And I would advise that you do that. As much as we hate to admit it, being in real estate has litigation issues, right? It just happens. So you'll deal with counsel from an asset protection standpoint. If you're syndicating, your SEC attorney will normally help you with those things. If not, I'm happy to help, or whoever you're retaining in the state you're buying from will help you with asset protection. Estate planning issues. Please don't die without wills. I mean, it is just a mess, right? I mean, again, I can only talk about Texas, but I don't know how many times I get calls, especially from women, because we husbands have a tendency of dying first for some reason. I don't know why that is. It may have something to do with the fact that we're married, but I don't. I don't.
All the stresses.
Yeah, exactly. I get calls from spouses who go, listen, my spouse passed away. They didn't have a will. I'm trying to get a refinance on my property, and for some reason my spouse is still on title. Or, hey, I own this company and it's both in my spouse's name and my name, but nothing's been done. And what do we do? And then they find out that because they didn't have a will and their spouse had children from another marriage, that now those children own their spouse's portion of it. It's just a mess, right? Wills are inexpensive, right? So start basic, right? If you don't have wills and the power of attorneys that are used in your state for medical purposes and financial purposes, spend the $500 or $750, whatever, to get those in place. When you start then getting really involved, then talk to your attorney about doing living trusts, revocable living trusts. If you live in a state where probate is a mess, like anywhere on the West Coast, anywhere on the East Coast, where probate can take 12 to 18 months, avoid probate,
Yeah.
that's why revocable living trusts are so popular on the West Coast. The East Coast is to avoid the courts.
Yeah.
Same in Texas. I mean, we're Texas, right? So we don't like the government and we don't like the courts. And so we make life a little easier, but
Mhm.
still having a trust where if one of your spouses passes away, you don't have to do anything at all because that surviving spouse continues to
Yes.
manage the trust. And
Right.
then when that second spouse passes away, that alternate trustee just steps in and there's no court action. There's nothing to be done. It's so
Yeah.
much easier to do. And I look at it from a capacity of just, if something happens to me, my wife is a pretty straightforward lady. I mean, she's going to be able to handle things, but I don't want to add burden to it by making her have to, visit with somebody to probate a will or do all those things or wonder where the bank accounts are and stuff like that. I have, and so we have trust, I mean, and one odd recommendation to people, I call it a death book. I'm sure you could come up with a better title than that. But I have a
Everything.
document that I've created that has every password and every login of every account that I have, that where the money is held, what the account numbers are, a phone number, an 800 number, and all that information in a document that's secured, that my wife knows where it's located, and I've given it to my two oldest boys, right? And there they have it. So if something happens to me, there's never going to be a question about, what money you're owed or where money's coming from or what investments you have or anything like that. It's all written down. And so, every 6 months I update it and make sure that it's accurate.
That's amazing, Milton. Oh my gosh. Is it like an Excel worksheet? Could you
Yeah,
share a blank one?
mine's just in Word,
Oh,
right?
Word.
It's just
Okay, Word. Yeah.
listed out everything. What's interesting, I have started buying some books that I
Mhm.
give to my clients, those that come in to do estate planning, of a book that has that same content in it,
Sure.
and so I just give them to my clients because I want them to.
What's the name of the book? Maybe we could put a link or
It's
something.
just a book that you get from the strangest place. My wife orders Christmas crafts from this
Yeah.
organization. As I was going through the catalog trying to prevent her from spending a lot of money, they were offering these books for like $19.
Oh, wow.
That is everything you want, place to put information in. And I just started buying them to hand out to my clients for free. I mean, it's part of the package we
Yeah.
give, so they have it.
Oh
But
my gosh.
I
That's
will
great.
I will get you the source, and if you want to look at it and include it to people, it's great. But it's well worth it's
Yeah.
less than 20
Please,
bucks.
how can people reach you? I think this will be amazing. I know, how can people reach you and maybe have an initial meeting with you and get this death book? No death book, but record
Well,
book.
you can, the office telephone number is 972-810-0161. Again, that's 972-810-0161. And my email address is my first initial M and then Colegrove. And then I just remind people always remember that first E in Colegrove. So it's MCOLEGROVE. And then it's at the phrase the law firm.
Yeah.
THELAWFIRM, and then the letters MC that stand for MeyerColegrove.com.
Yeah.
M Colegrove at the law firm MC.com. If you for some reason forget the M Colegrove part, you can go out to our website, the law firm MC. There's a link there that you can just email. General emails come to me. And you can also, if you go to our website, the law firm MC, there's a calendaring link on there, and you literally, without even having to call, you can set up
a time.
Wow. A Zoom meeting, a phone meeting, or a live meeting right on our website, and I will write back and confirm that everything's set up.
No, that's amazing. Thank you, Milton. No, that's
Sure.
great. And we'll put them in the show notes also. In the show notes, we'll put all these links and everything. Really want to thank you, Milton, for spending this time with me. And I know the audience is going to be blessed with listening to all these great nuggets. And again, everybody, please share, like, and comment, and give us some 5-star ratings, because as we get more 5-star reviews, we'll be able to bring some great guests on the podcast. As you know, now remember my other podcast, oh my gosh, the other book we are coming out with, I just wanted to share with you all, Senior Living Investing Made Easy. And of course, my second book already is getting great reviews, Positivity Brings Profitability. And my fourth book we are writing, you might say, Vinney, holy cow, where do you find time? And then we also have my 3 shows every week that I do on senior living, Vinney and Bo show, and then of course this one. So it's been a wonderful, journey. Reach out to me if you want anything to do passively investing with us. We will sit down with you, with John and I, my VP of the Academy. If you want to learn from me what I've been doing and where we are going with the next 30 years, hopefully I'm alive till 98. That's what my thinking is at this time. But thank you so much, Milton. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you again.
Wish your family the best for me.
Oh, you too. Please, you too, Fiona, and the whole family, boys. And I look forward to, because I'm coming to Dallas. Actually, we'll be building senior assisted living in Fort Worth, Texas. We are looking at some land over there. And Shahid, my partner, and I will be visiting once we get this vaccine going, probably early part of next year. So we'll be able to have you all together. Yeah.
That sounds fabulous. Look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Milton. You have a blessed day. Talk to you.
You too. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Sure. Let's see here. Stop.
Be sure to listen to Mr. Smiles next week with more golden nuggets and top-notch coaching tips. You can reach him by going to vinneychopra.com. Be sure to like, comment, and share to show everyone how Mr. Smiles has brought your apartment syndication business to the next level.